Which one wants to go first? Gold Star, Robbie?
Well, Gold Star Resources. What can I say? It's made me a lot of money. Up substantially since the beginning of the year. I mean, in January, Gold Star Resources was trading at 80 cents. Currently trading at $1.46. It's up 82%. I don't know how I stumbled across it. Call it the luck of the draw, if you will. But without question, it is, in my portfolio of penny stocks, it is the big winner. Beaten only by Smith & Wesson.
and Bob, on the issues of the treasuries?
Well, if you want to be in U.S. dollars and you want to own treasuries, that's fine. I wouldn't do that, not with my money. I'd have my money in gold and silver-related assets. So I don't think Martin Weiss is correct about that, and I think there's reasons for that. He understands what gold and silver are all about, and I believe he should be recommending it, but he's not, and that's up to him. But we don't have anybody in treasuries. We do have some people that are in Swiss franc treasuries, but other than that, they're in gold and silver coins or shares. Yeah. And I think that's the only place to be.
Yeah. Do you know anything about Golden Star Resources, Bob?
Well, Golden Star has some very good properties. They had some management problems a few years back, and they have a good inventory of properties, and it's a good company. It shouldn't be selling where it's at.
No, I mean, in 2004, it was selling for $8 a share.
That's right.
And if we look back at 2004, gold was $400. You can pick it up today for under $1.50. I personally think it's a no-brainer.
Well, that's one of the reasons I recommended Mine Finders 2 weeks ago, which is listed on the American and Toronto. They're in production. They're in Mexico. At the time the stock was 6, it's around 8 now. And they're going to make money this year after paying off approximately 40% of their debt. And, they're underway. And I think the stock is way underpriced as well.
All right, Rodney. Question answered? He's gone.
Well, the gentleman said he was going to take it off the air.
Okay. Mike in New York. I was making some notes here trying to track and trace what he was saying. Mike in New York. Hello, Mike.
Hi, John. Good evening. Robbie, Bob.
How you doing, brother?
Good, thanks. Great, thanks, Robbie.
Second place.
Yeah, hey, I think a massive win over Manchester United, Bob. Did you see that?
Yeah.
4-1.
Yeah.
We're talking annihilation here. I had a good wager on that as well.
Hey, can I ask you a question, Mike? What is the draw? What draws you to soccer?
Those little shorts, you know.
People worldwide watch the Super Bowl. I think 1 billion people watched it last year. I don't think 1 billion people watch the soccer matches.
Oh, more than that.
Much more.
They have TVs down in Somalia, do they?
Oh, sure.
Oh, okay.
They sure do, and they play there, too.
Oh, gosh.
That's right. You tell him, Bob.
Yeah, it's a worldwide phenomenon, Mr. Statmiller.
Not here in Texas, it ain't.
Yeah, I know.
How about them Cowboys?
When I was living in Salisbury, which is now Harare, I used to sponsor a team in those days, a Rhodesian Soccer League.
Oh, gosh.
I remember when I was watching a World Cup soccer game a few years back on the TV here in New York, and one of the guys said, "Why are you watching this soccer stuff?" And I told him, I said, "It's the World Soccer Cup." He said, "Well, nobody here watches it because it's, if the States was playing, it would be different." I said, not only is the United States in the competition, it's being held in the United States.
Well, that is really news for me.
Yeah, this is in 1990.
You know, look, I'm going to tell you, the entire world has been, how should I say, feminized, and I think soccer falls right into that.
Well, then listen, look at baseball, for goodness sake. They have the World Series.
Yeah. But soccer's for sissies.
How many people from the rest of the world play baseball?
Well, hey.
So.
Yeah. Anyway,
I think John would rather be in the Neanderthal.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's such a rough sport. They've got to wear protection. Okay, they got to wear plastic helmets and pads and yeah.
And they need the big glove there to catch the ball. In cricket, the ball goes as fast and you don't wear gloves. Right, Robbie?
Yep.
Mike, you're going to make Rodney, Brian, Don, Howard, and Marie very angry if you don't get to your point.
Okay, Mr. Chapman, is it reasonable to assume that the powers that be want to keep the stock market afloat, at least for the time being? Is that a reasonable assumption?
Yes, that is.
Okay, well, given that fact, why don't they, in order to, in a fairly efficient way of doing that, why don't they immediately, although it's illegal even now, why don't they explicitly state no more naked short selling?
Well, because the naked shorting is aiding the big traders in the large brokerage houses so they can steal from the public.
Yeah, but
and that is what the SEC is all about, allowing the theft of large brokerage houses and banks from the public.
Yeah, but isn't that contrary to, keeping the market up?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
They may change the rules on Thursday. You do know that.
Okay, yeah, because this is my next point, okay? Briefly, the second point I was going to mention was this business of mark-to-market of these non-tradable assets, to put it mildly, okay?
Yeah.
If they could hold the mark-to-market even on a temporary basis, wouldn't that immediately rocket the market up?
Well, they're not going to suspend mark-to-market. They're just going to change the rules governing mark-to-market.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hey,
but that doesn't answer his question, and it's already been discounted, and the FASB has already said this past week that they are not going to enforce the rule. And so it's business as usual, hiding all these rotten assets in the banking on their balance sheets, and a lot of it's worthless. But that's just the way it is. We live in a world of lies.
Yeah. Exactly. A final question, briefly. Bob, do you see anything positive coming out of the G20 meeting, that could cause the markets to rise?
No.
Okay, so...
No, the best it can be is neutral, and I think it's going to be a heck of a lot worse than that.
Yeah. And you think